So if you've been paying attention to what's going on in a small suburb of Chicago, Broadview, Illinois, the Eastern District of Illinois just ruled in the last 24 hours. They issued a stay and said that the National Guard troops cannot stage from this particular area. If you look at what's going on in the news, you see tons of protesters. So that's what I want to concentrate on for the purposes of this video today. Are these real protesters or are they getting paid?
Members were sent to the Broadview ICE facility this week, and this morning, protest there is growing by the minute.
Our Asal Razai is live there right now, and Asal, you saw some protesters detained. What's happened in the last hour or so?
Yeah, Dana, Audrina, we saw multiple escalations here, and I will say we started our morning on the other side of the facility on Beach Street, where that temporary fence is, and we saw protesters there, and then quickly at about 7:15, that area cleared out as police were telling protesters to disperse, and then a large crowd of protesters ended up in this area. This is at the 25th Street entrance at Harvard and 25th Street. We've been reporting from this intersection also for the past at least 5 or 6 Fridays now, where we've seen protesters on this side of the facility, on the back side. This is a residential area. 4 arrests we saw, guys, happen on this side within the last hour, and we'll show you video of those moments where we saw those clashes happen. It started when about 5 or 6 protesters locked arms and stepped right onto the other side of the concrete barriers, really right in front of state police and sheriff's deputies. And that's when officers moved in full force, took down multiple people, arrested 4 people, 2 people directly on the ground where that clash happened, and then we saw them take away 2 other people and detain them a little further down from this shot that you're looking at right now.
So when you take a look at these people, and just to add some additional context, I grew up in this village of Broadview. This village has no more than 7,800 people in its population, 68% black. A lot of them are baby boomers and are retired. I still know hundreds of people who live in this village. So when I'm looking at these individuals who are out here at this facility, and I drove by it recently, these are not local individuals. These are not residents of Broadview who are going out and protesting. So I have to ask myself, who has a 40-hour-a-week job that they're taking off time, going down here? The Mayor Katrina Thompson actually put a curfew and said people could only protest from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. because they had people out here 24 hours a day. Who are these protesters?
About 100 protesters out here right now in this designated free speech area, this protest area. And then on the other side of the facility at about 7:30, we saw 2 people detained. We also have video of that. It was a young man and an older gentleman that we saw Broadview police detained. They put them in handcuffs and kind of just sat them on those concrete barriers for about 15 to 20 minutes, and we overheard that they were not going to be booked. They were going to be released. I actually ended up walking past one of those protesters on my way back to this side, and that protester that was detained told me that he did receive a citation for refusing to disperse. That citation, he doesn't know how much it is. He doesn't know when the court date is. All he knew is that there is a court date on there, and then he made his way to this side to join the other protesters. And you guys mentioned that curfew that the mayor signed an executive order on there just this week, 9 to 6 p.m. curfew for these protest zones. So even though there is a designated free speech area that we're seeing protesters in right now, you can only be here between 9 in the morning and 6 in the afternoon. So
here's another angle of individuals who are protesting at this Broadview facility. And I wanted to take a look at some of these signs. Look at this sign here. It reads, "Arrests for looks. ICE is fascist and racist." People are not being arrested for their looks. People are being arrested and detained because they're illegally in the country. What is so hard to understand about this? So I have to, and again, you look at these signs, these don't look like just handmade signs. I mean, some of them do, but most of these signs look very, very professional. Let's look back here for just a moment you can see this sign here. Again, this looks like something that was printed. You can even see the barcode still on the back of this particular sign. But let's look at a different one really quickly. You see this sign, lawless ICE, no warrant arrests, detains U.S. citizens. They're not detaining U.S. citizens. They are detaining people who are here illegally. And then they say lawless ICE. Immigrations and Custom Enforcement, that's their job, to apprehend, to detain, and to deport people who are in the country illegally. So again, I go back to my original question. You've got some individuals who have a fundamental misunderstanding on what ICE is actually doing, but I have to ask, you've got hundreds of protesters down here who are showing up day after day. The mayor had to put a curfew, and she had to curtail the amount of time that people could be down there from just 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. because you have residents who live in this village. Their lives are being disrupted because you have all these outside people coming into this village of, like I said, 7,800 people. But I have to ask, what are your thoughts? Do you believe these are actual, genuine protesters, or do you believe that these people are being paid? Like I said, Broadview is a tiny, tiny village. It's a tiny village. Like I said, I grew up there in the 70s and in the 80s. 7,800 people, most of them, like I said, retired. Most of them, 68% of the residents of this village are African American. And you don't see, most of these protesters you see here are not residents of Broadview. So let's just take it right here. Let's just end it right here. I want to hear from you. Do you believe these protesters are being paid? And do you agree with what the Trump administration is at least trying to do? Do you agree with what ICE is trying to do? Or do you agree with that woman that this is all overblown and that this isn't necessary? I appreciate you for hanging out to this point. Go ahead, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, drop me a like. I'll catch you in the next one.